Focus. Get in focus. Welcome to Strawman Wikipedia. What a the tyranny of the NGOs. Comicsgate is a campaign in opposition to Strawman, which proponents allege has led to a decline in both quality and sales. Well, you can throw out the rest of this Wikipedia and let's just go to the crux of the matter. Quality, kind of subjective, except I guess you could relate it to sales in that if people seem to enjoy something, they usually enjoy things, you would call those things higher quality. But sales, that's subjective. Was Comicsgate right? Well, were they right all along? Well, yes, they were right, but they were right for the wrong reasons. People just don't want these comics. But, okay, do people enjoy them? Multiculturalism. But were they selling? Well, they just don't know what's good for them. So you know better than they what they want in comics. These are like people who've been reading comics quite a long time, and I can't help but notice that you're somewhat of a newcomer to this thing, and you yourself have said that you don't read comics. You just got into it to spread diversity and multiculturalism. I can't help but feel that you're just using comics as a vector for propaganda. Well, we know what's better for you than you know what's better for you. But you people are sociopaths. Oh, and when they include somebody's a picture and someone's name right next to this thing, they're calling it, alternative, dexterous, hate campaign, and hate, and you include this guy's picture next to it, you're trying to destroy this guy's business, destroy this guy's life, because you don't like him, not because he's actually done anything. This is it. When I say the tyranny of these NGOs, this is what I mean, the power of social media, unfettered access to defame people. Well, it's not technically defamation. Some of this actually probably is technically defamation, but even if you have a couple dollars, it's really expensive to sue somebody. And, what are your damages? Like, the damages have already been inflicted. It's like it's trying to create a high-trust society out of a low-trust society. It's just impossible to do. Oh, I'm also forming a church. It's you can go to the coffee to check it out. It's the Church of the Glow Ninjas in the Trees. One of our founding beliefs is that we don't take experimental substances. So join on coffee and you will get my blessing, and you can take part in that church where, as part of your sincerely held religious belief, one of the tenets, the dogmas of the faith, is that you don't believe in experimental chemicals. So this is our girl in question, who may or may not have mental issues. If you dress like that, I don't know if you have mental issues, but you're probably colorblind. What do you when corporate America discriminates against you based on your political beliefs? When half the country hates you based on your immutable characteristics? A few issues here. The growing opprobrium pushed by the globalist-controlled schools and media, a failure of multiculturalism, cultural Marxism, giving them permission to hate, and no person of the light in group preference. They're still playing by the old rules. Those days are over. It's time to get tribal. Be as istophobic as they claim you are. Get tribal or go extinct. But you white people don't really understand that. And every day I thank God that I'm a lesbian, trans, Jewish woman of color. In case you don't know, Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform similar to Indiegogo. People fund comics, board games, or anything they want, really. They have gate-kept Richard Meyer of Diversity in Comics and Mike Miller of Blacklist Universe in the past, so Comicsgate has settled on Indiegogo, which I have always said was a good idea. There is strength in numbers. Even if you're anything associated with independent comics, it might be a good idea to stick together with Comicsgate, kind of get under the umbrella, just because you have buying power that as a group that you don't have as an independent. If you're trying to exert any kind of pressure and advocate for your interests, now is not the time for division. And there's people within Comicsgate who are kind of bickering with each other, and I look at them like, you guys are on the same side. This is not the time. This is time to just let that stuff go and kind of get on the pick up the oar, so to speak. So ultimately, while being blocked by Camila Zong 2.0 is a bad sign in peak Weimar America, it's not such a problem for Comicsgate, at least in the short term. These are some of her comics, which are really, really amateur efforts, which is fine, which is great. Get your start in comics no matter what. We got a lot of amateur efforts in CG too. So this is about, the comic book is about twerking. Latoya plans to twerk the night away, but soon realizes that she's in over her head in a sci-fi tale. Get it? Tale? It makes Comicsgate the underdog once again, which works very well because it unites us. We are the underdogs, and it solidifies our support for Indiegogo, which I guarantee is as woke as Kickstarter. Like other people were talking about, I think John De La Rosa saying, they're this, like under the skin, they're all these going to be very left-wing companies, or else they wouldn't have been allowed to kind of take the social footprint that they're allowed. If there was a right-of-center guy who founded a crowdfunding campaign, they would just be destroyed on social media, and the financial platforms would destroy them. But at least Indiegogo seems to have a more competent manager where they're just trying to do business. So this girl, Jamila Rouser, just seems like your average racist idiot who thinks that wokeness is a moral high ground to pour her venom onto innocent victims. Yes, you're an innocent victim of her racism. You didn't do anything. You're awesome. It's not her fault. She's dumb. God or Mother Nature made her that way. The schools and media made her hate, and she never was taught differently, and she's probably too dumb to learn. She is the comic outreach purse puppy at Kickstarter. She was hired for her color privilege, not because of merit. To do her job, all she has to do is stay on the left wing, and she's going to be fine. I mean, if she suddenly had a come to Jesus moment and decided that the right wing was really the way to go, what do you think would happen to her? So she's a comics outreach something for Kickstarter, but she appears to have blocked all the bigger names in Comicsgate. Seems odd because they're artists and creators who are making comics, and you're the comics outreach coordinator. It seems like you're saying that certain people aren't welcome in your club. She also has a social media post by Critical Blast, who's got a YouTube channel, who's really good, does live streams, and he has got a web blog, which is he really covers this stuff pretty well, where she said it was necessary to investigate people so that you find the bigots. Let me guess, they'll all be blonde-haired and blue-eyed people. If you don't like someone's politics, just label them a bigot. Pressure these social media companies to put them on a list of a hate group, then get them kicked off social media so they can't sell comics and do what they love. Comics is more than just a gig for people. A lot of people, it's a passion. I mean, art is kind of a different type of gig. When I say diversity, or more accurately, multiculturalism is the problem, here's what I mean. We have this concept of free expression, and that kind of goes hand in hand with good faith and fair dealings. Disagreeing with people, fine, but not trying to destroy them and blacklist them. Disagree, but allow people to go to work and live their life. Don't mess with people's money, because we're good and fair people, and there are a lot of bad people here who are teaming up to destroy America, replace the good people with the bad people who have different fundamental beliefs, because people who are kept busy fighting are easier to control through fear. If you make people afraid, if you really whip them up into a terror, and then you promise a way out, if all you have to do is take away a little bit of their liberty, a lot of people are going to panic. It's what is the phrase? Don't cut a tree down in winter. Don't think. Calm down first. Think. Pray, meditate, whatever you have to do. Are you being manipulated through fear? I'm totally not talking about anything in present day. Obviously, ask for receipts. Hey, where's the facts and evidence on this? Oh, well, they don't exist, but just trust us. Well, have you lied in the past? Because that's how you impeach a witness. You say, oh, CNN has lied repeatedly in the past. They're no longer trustworthy as a source. Oh, hey, only 25% of black Americans are taking this experiment. Oh, gee, why would black Americans be suspicious of the American government? Oh, but you can trust us now. Get fucked. Go fuck yourself. Anyway, obviously, the big picture is that there aren't any protections for the beautiful people of the light against political discrimination and vitriol. And these blonde people learn that they need to be as tribal. They haven't learned they need to be as tribal as the people who are oppressing them. You got to start becoming what they say you are, because that's just kind of game theory. You really have everything to gain by it. What do you do if Kickstarter and Indiegogo both kick you off? Oh, well, you can just build your own platform, I guess, which is probably possible but expensive. But PayPal or the banks can prevent payment. It's not that far-fetched. They're already doing that to people who are right of center. It's like, oh my gosh, they're a millimeter to the right of center, further right than I am, so I'll be safe, right? No, they just keep coming and coming and coming. At first they came for Alex Jones, the poor frog salesman. If the ADL, SPLC, ACLU ever labels Comicsgate a hate group, then social media will kick us off and the banks will prevent payment. If the ADL, SPLC just wants to shut a group down, they'll do it. The ADL is funded by the wealthiest people on earth. Their bankroll is infinite. Now, let me ask the obvious question. Don't you want rights that prevent the wealthiest people on earth from destroying you? Don't you wish that your nation acted like a nation and not a commercial zone controlled by Israel for the benefit of China? Am I saying capitalism is fake and gay? Maybe a little bit. If you think your government is going to protect you from NGOs, you better think again. Senators Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, and a lot of the others, they didn't get to be worth millions and millions of dollars by being honest. And Nancy Pelosi was worth like $40 million. How did she get that? Media never seems to ask. They just kind of let that one slide. They ripped off Americans through insider trading and made themselves wealthy, like parasites, which is exactly what they are. Nobody is going to save us but us, which is a weird realization for Mr. Normie, who was wondering why he paid taxes his whole life, only to have CRT taught in schools and the police do nothing about the cities and the demonstrations that are going on there. Read riots. And their cities are being turned into third world hellscapes by people who benefit from Mr. Normie's taxes. The problem with multiculturalism is once you break it down, you realize it doesn't work at all. What happens is the group with the highest in-group preference that is willing to play dirty will win. When Camila Zong or Jamila Rouser does something reprehensible, you can't say, oh, that isn't how we do things. We're trying to build a country on merit, not bias for immutable characteristics. They know that they can't get by. They cannot get by on merit because that takes hard work, and hard work scares the hell out of them. They also know that the media hates the people of the light, so they can take advantage of this situation, and society slowly rots and devolves into Brazil, which is a low-trust, failed state. And yeah, Kickstarter is just one small example, but if you've been paying attention, you see an increasing hate movement against Christians, Europeans, and right-of-center people in general. And if you're black and right-of-center, then it's just as bad for you. It's weird. It's like once you cross that spectrum to be right-of-center, all of a sudden they feel comfortable saying the most abhorrent things about you. It's like, get back on the plantation, boy. Go back to being a slave. But, I mean, it's not a color thing. They want that for everybody. It's like, it's us versus the globalists. And a lot of the far right and the far left and the racial identitarians don't see that. And honestly, at this point, it would take a civil conflict to fix it. But until then, we can start finding our in-group preference and advocating for our side, because nobody is going to advocate and advance our interests but us. I always say, gatekeep SJWs. Oh yes. If you don't, they're just parasites. They'll come in and they'll take over, and you'll have to leave and start something new, and they come in and take over, but the whole time they're seizing control of the playground, the play field, to control financial institutions and payment processors and social media companies. And it's like you can't keep running. You can't just live in peace when these companies are actively trying to destroy you. The hate against Comicsgate is based on SJWs hating EDS and Richard Meyer, what's it based on? They're two average assholes who escaped the plantation. Their sin is that they're the wrong race, German and whatever the hell Ethan is. They're the wrong color, and they laugh at globalist propaganda. The left thinks that if you're anti-open borders, globalism, then you are Satan. A nation isn't a nation without one unified blood, tribe, identity, ideology, religion. There is no multicultural nation. It's nothing more than a commercial zone controlled by bankers. Brazil is the most diverse, multicultural place on earth. How is that working out for them? You can look at Brazil's ghettos, or you can look at American ghettos. Globalism was designed to destroy nations. It's like they tell you what they're going to do, and they put it in writing, they pass documents around, or they do interviews, and they post them in the hidden corners of YouTube, Odysee, and BitChute. They're not shy about what they're telling you they're going to do to you, and then they proceed to do it. And then they do it, and then people go, oh, they're our best friends, they're our allies. And like, they're trying to destroy you, and they're pretty open and notorious about their motivations. Well, diversity is our strength. Where is that true? Where do you see this working? I see I'm getting a little off base here. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, join the channel, get a shiny. Join the channel while you can, because I don't know how long I'm going to be on YouTube. I think I'm a wrong thinker. I like YouTube, but I like BitChute and Odysee a bit more. So anyway, join the channel. I will see you guys all next episode.